We just learned that we do have a media briefing starting right now. Let's get to Mayor Hancock there speaking.
My name is Michael Hancock, the mayor of the city and county of Denver. What we're going to do today is ask Chief Ron Thomas to give a situational report on the incident here at East High School. And then we'll bring up the superintendent, Dr. Marrero, who will give a situational update on the school and what we're going to be doing going forward here at East as well as other schools throughout the district. There will be an orderly timed release of students in just a few moments out of East High School. But we want to also give you an update that what we do know today is that a male student who was under certain agreement to be patted down each day here at East High School shot and injured 2 staff members at East. What we know about them right now is that they're both, one's in surgery right now, the other one is stable and able to talk and to give statements in terms of what happened. We know that one other student unrelated to the shooting was transported because of an allergic reaction and a visceral reaction to the tension of the moment. Nothing trumps the safety of our young people in this building and the faculty and staff. And we feel for them right now. This should never, as a parent, I can tell you, never be a concern of a parent, whether or not their kids are safe in their building. And so Chief Thomas and Dr. Marrero and DPS Board of Education and I are committed to making sure we do everything we can to keep our young people and the faculty and staff of these buildings safe. Let me turn it over now to Chief Ron Thomas to give a situational report and give you more details on what happened today, and then we'll have our superintendent, Dr. Marrero, share as well. Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. So what I can share at this point in time is that at approximately 9:50 this morning, a call was aired of a shooting here at East High School. Officers and medical professionals from Denver Health Medical arrived on scene very, very quickly and discovered 2 adult males that had suffered gunshot wounds. Those 2 individuals were transported emergent to Denver Health Medical. One is currently in serious but stable condition. The other is currently in surgery, listed in critical condition. What I can share as it relates to the incident that caused those 2 injuries is there was a student, as was alluded to, and as part of a safety plan, they were undergoing a search. During that search, obviously a weapon was retrieved, a handgun was retrieved, and several shots were fired, striking those 2 individuals. That individual then fled the school, but we do know who that individual is, and a search is underway to try to locate that particular individual. At this time, I'll turn it over to Dr. Marrero from Denver Public Schools, who will talk about the school's response.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you, Mayor. Deeply sorry that we're here. I really feel strongly that we shouldn't be here, but here we are. My prayers to the East community and, of course, our 2 staff members who are in the hospital at the moment. In terms of what we're doing at East, Mayor Hancock and Chief Thomas just explained in terms of what happened. I don't want to reiterate the happenings of earlier today. We will have an organized release. The communications should be going out to the parents right now. But also tomorrow and the next day, meaning the remainder of the week, East will not be in session. In terms of what we can expect at East from here until the end of the school year, in collaboration with Chief Thomas and support of our mayor, also communicated this to the Board of Education, that we will have 2 armed officers here at East until the end of the school year. We're looking forward to expanding that conversation to see how we can reestablish a relationship with presence at our schools, in particular our high schools. In terms of the Board of Education, I believe that they're going to make themselves available tomorrow in lieu of our board meeting. That'll be an opportune time to have a conversation in terms of what safety looks like in our schools from here on out. En breve, en español, lo que pasó está el día de hoy, no sé si fue por la mañana. Un estudiante que nosotros recibimos en enero de otro distrito llegó armado, 2 oficiales o personal de la escuela se confrontaron y él disparó a los 2. Los 2 adultos están en hospital y ahora vamos a comenzar, los niños se van a ir piso a piso a la casa. Mañana no hay escuela aquí en East y el viernes tampoco. La semana van a tener libre. Vamos a tener 2 miembros de la policía aquí hasta el fin de la temporada, hasta junio. Y ojalá podamos hacer eso en la otra escuela. Yo creo que tengo el apoyo de la Junta de Educación, pero mañana a las 4:30, la Junta de Educación está disponible para contestar o explicar el plan sobre la policía. Muchas gracias.
Let me just say 2 things. One is an unrelated situation. Paramedics were in the building when the shooting occurred, and they were able to immediately begin to administer support and treatment to the individuals who were wounded, and that I think will play a huge role in their ultimate recovery from this. And again, we'll keep them in our prayers. But we want to thank our first responders, our EMTs, our firefighters, and certainly our police department who were on the scene within minutes of this incident occurring. And then finally, before we go to question and answer, to the parents, I want to share with you that I've had a chance to talk to a couple of them who are here, obviously. They're frustrated and they're angry, as they should be. And again, those of us who are parents and have young people in this building, we certainly understand their frustration, their pain. The faculty and staff are concerned. We must continue to work on addressing safety in our school buildings and in our city in general, and we will. We have never stopped with that. The police department have been working to have a presence outside of this building for quite some time. I think it's clear now that we need to do even more interdiction with our police officers inside the buildings in these type of situations. So right now, those are the circumstances we know with regards to the condition of the victims. We are looking for the suspect. We will find that suspect, and we will hold that suspect accountable for his actions this morning in placing everyone in danger and certainly wounding the 2 staff members who were doing their job and trying to keep everyone safe at the time. So we'll open up for question and answer. Please ask directly who you're talking to so we can get them to the mic. Yes, sir.
For Chief Thomas. Chief Thomas,
Yeah,
could you
okay.
please,
We have brief time because we want to make sure we get this order released. Go ahead.
Chief Thomas, can you please give us more details? You said the suspect was being patted down when the shooting happened. Did the person grab their gun? Or walk us more through that if you can, sir.
Well, a lot of those details will be. So a lot of those details will be available to us after a more in-depth investigation. But what I can share with you is this particular student actually had a safety plan that was in place where they were to be searched at the beginning of the school day every day. They had been searched previously to today and had never had a weapon on them before. However, today, during that search, which took place away from other students, away from other school staff, they did produce that weapon and fire shots.
And where did that patting down take place? Is that at the entrance of the school or where in the building?
It occurred in the front of the school, in the office area, again, away from students and other school staff.
Can we say if they were teachers? Are we just going with faculty members? Do we have any specifics on what their role was inside of East High School?
So they were deans, they were school administrators.
School administrators. Thank
Yes.
you. Oh, who was doing the patting down?
Again, it was the school administrators.
And Chief, in terms of the suspect, is this a current student at East High School, and is this person under the age of 18?
Yes, under the age of 18, current student of East High School.
Chief, how many students at East High have been patted down with this?
I couldn't share that with you. I mean, I imagine that there are students that have various safety plans in place that result in certain interactions with school staff.
What leads, this is Noel, Denver Post, what leads to a school safety plan? Like, how does a student get in that situation?
Yeah, I think,
It's particular for each individual.
yeah, certainly it's particular to each
There's been
individual
past
student. Yes.
trouble, though, that is indicated.
I don't liberty to share. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't want to share that again. That's, we're talking about juveniles. We're talking about students in school that have been allowed to participate in school activities.
Chief, the parents might want to know why they can't actually give you more details as to what qualifies a student for a safety plan. Or is the district willing to share that for the city?
Sorry, we cannot. Bound by FERPA, we cannot disclose any particulars about any student individual plan, whether it's academic or behavioral.
It's not that specific student, but in general, like what happens, like how a safety plan works and what gets you there.
Sure. It's very nuanced and it's particular. They're individuals, so it's based on past behavior, and that's as far as I can feel comfortable saying. So it's as a result of previous behavior.
Is there something that you can say though to parents who are out there who are listening to this and they hear the word nuance and they can't get details, but they want details regarding their children's safety?
Sure. It's past educational and also behavioral experiences that each individual student may have exhibited in the past.
Is this a system that takes place at more than just East High School, this safety plan that you have? Can you tell me how many schools do this in the district?
This is common for all schools in all districts. It's part of what we have in terms of making sure that we can support the needs and behavioral needs of students. So it's very common across the nation.
Was the weapon recovered within the school? Has the handgun been recovered, or does the suspect still have it?
My understanding is that the weapon has not been recovered, but again, we do know who the individual is. We do know where they live, but we are familiar with associates of this individual, and so we do believe we will be successful in finding that individual and that weapon very soon.
Is the area where this took place, is that under video surveillance? Is that something that you guys will have video of that area?
I'm not sure if there was video in this specific
Will Dr.
location.
Marrero know that? Is that an area where there is video surveillance of that area, Dr. Marrero?
There could be. I know the team is evaluating, and I also know that there has been confirmation that the student left the grounds, so that leads me to say that yes, there is. And I have to apologize. I don't want to conclude this press conference because I want to support the students who are about to be dismissed. So, pardon.
Can we get his name? Name of the suspect? Why aren't you releasing the name of the suspect if you're searching for him?
Because he's a juvenile.
But is there a danger to the public?
Okay, so you have been watching live city officials, the police chief, the mayor, and the Denver Public Schools Superintendent Alex Marrero. They're giving a live news conference, giving us some of the information that we've been waiting on since right after 10 o'clock when East High School was first put on lockdown. A shooting, 2 faculty members taken to the hospital. That's what we knew. What just came out from the news conference, a lot more about this suspect, an 18-year-old male student there at East High School. Or under the age of 18, I should say. So a juvenile, that's part of the reason they couldn't tell us a ton of new information, that a weapon was discovered during a standard daily pat-down of that student as part of a so-called safety plan. That was when those shots were fired. 2 school administrators were hit and taken to the hospital. A lot more to dig in through, Micah.
Absolutely. We also learned that 1 student was taken to the hospital as well. That was more so due to that student's reaction to what was happening around them. But we are also learning from, I believe it was Chief Ron Thomas from Denver Police Department, that the shooting didn't necessarily happen in front of a lot of students. It was toward the office area and mainly just faculty members. And again, those 2 administrators, one of those administrators in surgery right now in critical condition, the other able to speak and talk about what happened at East High School this morning.